Nate here from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. Today I'm with my esteemed colleagues, and we're going to be discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of sci-fi genre.
I'm Ted.
Dave.
Ryan.
So-
Coffee.
So sci-fi games, it's not the foremost of what we play, but we've done some things, here and there. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, for us personally, we've kind of we've crossed the streams when it comes to sci-fi. We've mixed it with
You
D&D,
never crossed streams.
but we did.
We did. We crossed.
We mixed it with D&D, and we've
Mixed
done
with superheroes.
we mixed it with superheroes with a cosmic game. I personally, I played in Star Frontiers years and years ago. I think that's the only one that was like straight up sci-fi. And then you guys
With Paranoia, that's a pretty
Paranoia.
sci-fi game
Yeah,
too.
I used to do Star Wars as well with a whole other gaming group.
Well, that's really so it's weird. Like Star Wars is like fantasy with elements of a science fiction.
It's kind of a space opera.
Star Trek is like hard science.
Right.
You know, like sort of like to split the two.
Well, they
spots.
sell it as hard science, yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars and Star Trek are both space. It's just how they're delivered. Star Wars talks about, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Because, you still have, lasers and starships and all that stuff that goes along with...
androids, but
And
not the
droids.
ones you're looking for.
But, so that all goes with the space themed. It's just, okay, well, we're going to toss in these laser swords, lightsabers, if you will, just to give it the long time ago concept.
Well, and also they deal with an ancient religion, like the whole Jedi thing is kind of a old cult that few people believe in. Like depending on what era you're talking about in the universe too.
So the question is then, how does this translate into RPGs?
Yeah, I mean, well, there has been a Star Trek RPG. There is Star Wars. There's
Numenera.
Yeah, there's the freaking Warhammer has like the Warhammer 40K universe. You can role play in that.
Absolutely.
So that's totally a thing.
We missed one that we played in too. We've done Gamma World.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Warhammer World is.
It's post-apocalyptic, a little bit of everything. You don't
But,
get much
you know-
more sci-fi than that.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, I guess that would count. So
Yeah, so I would say for the, I'm going to start off with the ugly of sci-fi, is over-teching everything. When everything is like this, it takes you 5 or 6 giant words to explain what this device is, or, I don't like that. I mean, I like Star Trek, and they do tend to tech their lingo up, but then they explain it with a really easy metaphor.
I would also say in regards to running a sci-fi game, when you've got the ability to get access to or use this super powerful tech, you can teleport. You can easily fly from one planet
circumvent
to another.
obstacles.
So there's a lot of things that you can be like, oh, that's not a problem. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
So
Same problems that a high magic game runs into, really, when you think about it.
A high level, high magic game can have that kind of situation.
Well, you've got to put limits on the things. If it's just high magic in the future, then, okay, well, I teleport through wherever I want on this planet because I can.
Yeah.
But, when you run in from the sci-fi aspect, you have why can't I teleport into this cave?
Weird ozone, special radiation.
Yeah.
The fuse is blown and you need to replace the part. Scotty's got to spend like 18 hours fixing it. You guys are kind of stuck here.
So get in that shuttlecraft and get down there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with for a con is like actually it's a con and it's a pro. One of the biggest problems with sci-fi games is the versatility of them. It's a huge genre. I would say possibly the biggest. It runs from everything from Gamma World or Thundar the Barbarian, which has a lot of elements that are kind of like swords and sorcery, but with magic. With technology, to your Star Trek. And then that gambit in between is huge.
And then like you put in a little bit of like thriller or horror with like aliens if you draw influence from something like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally Ravenlofted it up.
Utopian societies.
Right.
Dystopian societies.
Oh, which
that's what I meant.
the one? Yeah, right. The ones with the world. Remember that one that like the world like changed like overnight, like every day. What was that? Dark City.
Dark City, yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah, it was badass, but totally a great source of inspiration for that. But another con too is like when your players have access to like starships and they can go literally like if you lay out a plot and a problem for them, because as game master, that's what you really do. You lay out a problem that
And
you
they
want
decide
them
to
to
go
solve.
hard
And they,
instead.
yeah, they decide to go like, oh, there's a mining city that we can make all this money. I've got this plan, and like so, like when they can totally like disregard the adventure to go gallivanting.
The sandbox is really big.
Yeah, gallivanting about the galaxy, and like, oh, and I heard this brothel in this plan is fantastic. Let me go to that star station.
You have the
That's when you
ability.
hit it with Reavers.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what game you're playing.
Just throw in readers.
Just throw 'em in.
So you have the ability that it forces the DM to improv if the players decide to go off track.
I do think it definitely leads to much more being comfortable with improvisation because there's so many chances and odds of what people are doing.
So you want you don't want to necessarily railroad them, but if you give them campaign things that are time intensive, it limits their let's go off in here and go off and do there.
Well, there's that, but okay, let's go back to great source material, Star Trek. How many times are they just kind of like floating from one spot to the next, and bam, Q shows up, or
Right.
Or something, or some
Greater
anomaly
beings,
shows up, or
Yeah.
for some
Or, hey,
reason
there's
you
a-
got what are those tribbles?
The
You know,
trouble-
over-
Hey, you've got trouble with them.
Yeah, overrunning your ship for no reason, like or a Romulan bird of prey drops out of cloaking and starts whooping ass on you.
but
So
all-
there are definitely ways to circumvent that.
So what you're what I'm saying is what you're saying is if you have some side trackers already in place, you can just be like, okay, well, while you're trying to go there, this happens. You can either choose to continue on or go off and
I
another
think that would be an easy. Like you need to
Or just
prep
have
that
shit
thing.
on their ship break.
Yeah, have shit on their ship.
Or an intergalactic merchant guild is doing a blockade for
Like,
some reason.
Yeah, that could be like
You
random
can't guess
all on the same random encounter table that you prepared. Or they find someone in cryogenic sleep that's in a spaceship, or they find a wreck, or a strange satellite, or there's a planet there that wasn't there before. That doesn't make sense. That's weird. Yeah, or all kinds of things.
So if you have those things prepped ahead of time as roadblocks for your players when they want to go do something crazy, you've got at least something that you
It
can
might
throw out there.
create a buffer section for you to,
Right.
unless of course they change their mind because you put something out there that sparks something. Oh wait a minute, we got to haul this over to the space station X, the intergalactic junkyard.
So
God damn it, do we even have an intergalactic junkyard?
No,
now
but
we do.
It's
It's
really
not
close
fun.
by the quest area has one.
To bring it back to something more positive, a pro, like really, it gives you permission to sort of venture into so many different. Like if you wanted to have a one shot of something go on, like a western, well, something went wonky on the holodeck, and now the entire ship is like an old timey western town, and you have to deal with the NPCs and stuff in this western town. But you're still in your space game, and you'll eventually come out of it.
Or you have a planet that is completely like that, and
Yeah.
you've got to go make contact with them and do whatever mission.
Or essentially, you're in Firefly's universe because that was pretty westerny.
Yeah, absolutely. With going on that vein, sci-fi really offers up everything, and you can change
From planet
worlds.
to planet.
You can change worlds like that. It's like, okay, well, over the course of 2 days, you travel from this planet to that planet, and now as opposed to dealing with, this humanoid race that is very pro this and very, con that, you now have this thing that is only vaguely humanoid, gigantic slime creatures, and now you have to, contend with them.
And it wants to eat your energy source, your energy.
So you've got the ability to honestly put anything and everything out there, and with science or magic, it's possible. So just put it out there.
Yeah, and you can go so many different ways with just like writing material. Like if you wanted to be funny, you like have it influenced by like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or like Spaceballs, or if it's grim and gritty future, you could look at like dark dystopian sort of movies and dramas and things like that. Sort of.
Then, like, if you really want to go in a completely different direction, you do have things like Transformers and GoBots.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm gonna play a guy that turns
mechanized
into
flight suits and all kinds of crazy stuff.
a guy that turns into an 8-track player. Like what? What? How? How is
Don't
this
you
possible?
have like
Futuristic technology? Not even.
downloadable crystal things?
Not
in the
even
future?
not even an iPod? Seriously? An 8-track? What is wrong with you? Yeah.
No, they were tape decks, man.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it made sense because they mimic things in that world
Yeah. You're right.
for the most part, except for when they didn't.
Right.
Dave
Except for
making
when
sense of them.
Come on, man, it's science. This is not
Science.
this is not your crazy magic. But yeah, so
it's science that just ignores physics because when I transform, I can change size or have my trailer just completely disappear.
it just goes away.
I mean,
Unless I need it.
even in the
He's got a little
subgenre,
dimension pocket.
even in superheroes, like there's the techie heroes are totally in the sort of sci-fi vein, like Iron Man. I think a lot of Ant-Man's powers are derived supposedly scientifically. So like the humans that have access to devices that make them superheroes are essentially sci-fi characters too.
Yeah, technology background kind of heroes or.
Oh, and that's the other thing. Like a sci-fi game can actually fall in any kind of time period too. So like that's what I mean. Like it's so wide open when you play sci-fi. I guess like the first thing you got to do is you just have to determine what the parameters are as the game master. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of systems out there that you can run in. There's Paranoia, there's Star Wars, there's Star Frontiers. I'm sure you can find an old copy of that.
Or Dread.
The
Jenga
Dread.
Tower thing, which
When you said Dread, I was thinking Judge Dredd.
Well, Judge Dredd, but there's the rule set that basically do any type of game you want with a Jenga Tower, and that just seems like an awful lot of fun. I so want to do one of those games. Yeah.
And let's not forget about Mutant Masterminds.
Yeah.
It can literally be done with any setting, any.
Yeah. There's other generic ones too, like Riffs
Or
and
GURPS.
GURPS.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys play GURPS? I have no idea.
I have not played
I've-
GURPS.
no.
I'm GURPS curious.
Yeah.
And Fate is.
Yeah,
Fate's
Fate's another
well,
one.
I mean, and my character for Scott's one shot thing that maybe we'll give it back to at some point. So much gaming, so little time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dr. Science, aka Peter Venkman. So yeah, he's based off of Bill Nye with Bill Murray's character from Ghostbusters name. But yeah, his whole thing is about making gadgets and devices. He's a gadgeteer.
Kaboom.
So yeah, making explosives and things like that. So definitely more in the realm of plausible science-ish. So
Along with comedic.
Dude,
comedic, yeah.
I think we covered most of the stuff. You guys can contribute at home or wherever you're watching this video from.
Wait, what about mech armor and mechs?
Yeah.
Like Back of Warriors, because you have the different level of like.
That's just Transformers with somebody inside them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, so there's
And lots and lots of guns.
the same.
Explosive.
Well,
Particle cannons, baby.
I guess getting into another
Cthulhu Tech
Oh,
is
yeah.
something I wanted to check out. I watched that a while back, a really awesome review on it. I think I even shared it on the Facebook page. But there was all these different factions and it wasn't just like Cthulhu, but they actually found the portal to Cthulhu world. And they were using it for like a power source, which can never be good.
No, you did not want to be battery powered by Cthulhu. But one of the cons I just thought to get into, you run into the same problem of power scaling that superheroes has. The single lone scientist or soldier, and there's mechs and starships and stuff like that. If a bunch of people are piloting mechs.
That sounds like a Rift's problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or BattleTech, or because they made BattleTech into an RPG too. You don't want to be the lone pilot guy running around in a sea of mechs, or having one guy in a mech that dominates everything. Everybody else is on the ground.
It comes back to the Star Wars argument: either all Jedi or no Jedi.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Unless you're Spoonie.
Quoting Spoonie. Yeah.
That's why you've got the situation, or not even the situation. That's where the actual rules, issues come into question. That's why I lean towards mutant masterminds, because that's just character build. You choose all right, well, you're firing a particle cannon and I've got this pistol. Well, if I'm just that good with a pistol,
Even if you're no match for the particle cannon. So.
Well, I mean, it's down to.
Well, yeah, the rules are there. Okay, so you're the pilot, you don't really have superpowers, but you have a mech.
Right.
Your mech can do blast, and your mech can do launch missiles, which is like a fireball, basically.
It kind of creates, in those games, it's a little bit easier than the Supers game, I feel, because it kind of creates this dynamic where you're going, okay, I got the pilot of the spaceship, so I have to present challenges specific to that.
Right.
I got the mech guy, so, we need to throw another bad guy mech or a kaiju in there or something. to kind of like balance out. In the meantime, you got your foot soldier types guys with things that they have to go in building to building or something. But it does create this weird thing where you have to like do all these separate encounters in the same encounter.
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, the mech guy is going to get swarmed, if not individually by fighting like a big nasty. A bunch of guys are like, that's the obvious threat. I'm gonna go for that, and then the other guys get to like stealth around and sneak
place
past.
you want to get up behind them and place some explosives on them, and
It's
run
just
away.
it's planning your encounter for your party.
Right.
That's what you have to do.
But I mean, the best way to circumnavigate that is probably just
EMP, electromagnetic pulse.
well, that would work,
Just
or
shelter.
Defining the game you're going to play with your players beforehand to make sure that everyone is kind of like we're all mechs or
We're all mech warriors.
Yeah,
basically.
or no one's a mech warrior, or if you got a pilot character, well, maybe everyone's on a spaceship. That would probably make more sense, like a Firefly,
Right.
or a
Well, I
Star
mean,
Trek.
Most times, nobody is gonna like the pilot guy is going to excel at being a pilot, and that's not going to come into play that much. The pilot should be an NPC, really. Like, I mean, unless somebody really was okay with the idea of sucking in most instances
Well,
when he wasn't piloting.
You're a pilot. I mean,
You have to
you're
it's only
operating a
gonna be-
vehicle in fifth. That's really easy.
That's only going to be a portion of what your character.
That can
is.
be done in your background, and you already have the ability. to
Or
use a vehicle.
you got encounters where you're doing ship-to-ship combat,
Yeah.
then that guy becomes the star.
Right. I mean, yeah, if you build it in, you could do that as well.
Yeah, but it's not like you have a tremendous amount of skills in game terms that are directed just at piloting that ship. So I mean, you can still be really good at shooting.
It would depend. Like in that dynamic where you're talking about like a group crewing a ship, they'd all have their primary function on the ship probably, and
Their
then
niche,
and then have secondary ones. And depending on the system you're using, maybe it doesn't really require that much of the character build to do that thing.
Character resources.
So if you're looking at an example of Firefly, you've got the captain who also can shoot a gun. You've got the hired hand who can also shoot a gun. You've got the friend that can also shoot a gun. You've got the mechanic who doesn't want to shoot a gun. The doctor who doesn't like to shoot a gun but can.
And you got Wash who can't. He can just pilot for the most part.
And then you've got the pilot who pretty much stands behind somebody else. But I mean, there's nothing to say that if you built this crew that they all have the specialty and can engage in combat to some level,
Some capacity. Well, I mean, it should be a bit of a.
And it depends too. Like what is the purpose of that crew? Are they mercenaries that they're in conflict with? Well, then you're
fighting.
they're probably all badasses. Maybe the pilot isn't
the
most
least badass of the badass.
But he probably is better than Joe Schmo average, or maybe even your average soldier.
Or-
out of pilot school.
Or even like something happened where like one of his legs was blown off, so he has a hard time getting around. So he used to be a badass fighter, but the whole
Because
mobility
there's a difference between an interesting dynamic of a TV show versus what is going to be compelling towards the players at your table. So I would imagine, especially with a system like Mutants and Masterminds, you're only going to require so many points to get put into skills to do your specialty, be it doctor, engineer, pilot, and then the rest can just get put into whatever else. I mean, I want to diversify my skills, so I'm not going to be as good at combat, but I still can do it. So again, that comes back to the parameters set to your players of what is the game dynamics? What is the quests going to be like? Are you mercenaries? Are you
smugglers.
are you smugglers? Are you diplomats? Are you out? Is it going to be primarily a role playing ship? Are you playing?
The diplomacy quest.
Well, speaking to that, right? I played Star Frontiers years and years ago, and I played the mechanic / pilot, except for the race that I was playing were these like they were ape-like. They were basically like flying apes. They had like the flying squirrel folds where they could glide, right? But because of the way the race was, they're also like naturally berserkers as well. But I made him the mechanic or the pilot. So in hand-to-hand combat and melee combat, he was still a badass because he could freak out and basically go apeshit.
Literally. Although I would make it as the GM of that, like if he like scraped his knuckle while working on something, and sometimes he just breaks down and breaks shit. I mean, because you have to like counterbalance that, like, oh yeah, he can do all these things fairly well. Well, how do I kind of screw with this character a little bit because he's a little too good? I know he just like sets himself back by a week by like going apeshit on.
Well, there is also a lot of other cool races you can play at Star
Yeah.
Frontiers as well,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
it does balance out. And back in that was in there in the 80s.
Dude, do you remember Captain Bucky O'Hare?
I do.
That was pretty cool. That would be a fun world to play in.
Indeed.
Yeah, it'd be like it's like Ninja Turtles in space.
Indeed.
So, okay, let's wrap it up.
Have we dissected this one enough?
Yeah, but I think we should wrap it up. Your top sci-fi game that has been played that you would like to play.
Oh, jeez.
It's really
top
swinging when she's
sci-fi game that I haven't played.
It doesn't actually have to be a system.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued by your teaser from however long ago it was about playing Transformers. I'd like to give that a shot.
I might have to do that one online because in our group the interest is very low.
Yeah, I know.
I would do it. Originally, I was not. I was nonplussed.
All right, so what about you, Nate? What do you want to play?
I've been working on one of my campaign settings, Virium. You said it last week, and I've been thinking about it all week. And so one of the settings that you can do with that is you can do sci-fi. As you know, you can do fantasy, you can do modern, and you can do sci-fi.
You want to run the thing you created.
Yeah, I know it's kind of egotistic, but that's what I want to do.
How about you, Ryan?
No, Dave asked the question. Fuck him. He asked.
No problem. I got this all day long.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd, dude.
Yeah.
I think in the one shot group we're talking about running that game, but I so want to play a judge.
Okay.
All right. So for me, it'd either be like a futuristic supers game, could be pretty badass and fun. Sort of like a Days of Future Past. Like there was a cool X-Men episode where like it was post-apocalyptic and like some of the cool powers. Like I remember there was a guy that could run really fast. He had like metal arms. And he could just put his arms out and like run through shit. Like that was really cool. So like either futuristic supers or in the Star Wars setting because I've never actually played anything Star Wars and that'd be pretty fun.
Okay.
And I more favor like a Star Wars than a Star Trek, even though I like both.
Well, bringing that up, it was actually requested that we play the new Star Wars game and do a review on it and run a module or something. I'm like, I would love to say yes to this dude, but I think the guy's name is Zach.
Yeah.
But he asked us to do it. I'm like, dude, we don't play the game, so we can't do a review on it. And if we did, which we would like to, it's going to be a ways in coming. Yeah, so we'd have to get the game, review the game,
learn it,
learn it. Do the review on it, and then play the game. So
I think as an outsider coming in, since we're not familiar with it, I think that would be a good fresh experience.
But there's time lag.
Time.
I'll look into trying to get the stuff and see if somewhere down the line I can make that happen. I've got a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, my understanding with the Star Wars thing is you can't actually play a Jedi yet. Like the first, it's like they're like releasing it in sections, and that section's not
Kind of like another big RPG publisher that might be on the table.
maybe.
I think a Star Wars game that doesn't incorporate Jedi, similar to as you pointed out earlier, all Jedi or no Jedi. I think it's a lot more fun and interesting to play Star Wars without Jedi because you don't have that power dynamic to worry about.
And not only that, right? If you got Jedi in there, what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to fight with lightsabers.
Yeah.
So in order to fight with lightsabers, you need Sith.
Right.
And it's just like
So there's enough compelling information in the Star Wars universe, and plot hooks and stories that you can do that you don't need Jedi as players. You don't need Sith as bad guys. It's so open and so usable. I think it's very easy to just be like, you know what, for this game, strike it.
Well, we had quite a list of things he wanted to check out. So I mean,
it was all along the same vein.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was.
That's
I think
all
it was like
non-Jedi stuff,
it was the sequence of the modules.
yeah, that's what I mean. If those are all no Jedi, then that's a lot of material right
Did you
there.
guys handle this for the next 3 years?
Yeah. So I mean, a module's like a full arc of something could take like a year and a half to like run through all the material or whatever. I mean, it depends how often you're meeting.
I'm
with the pace we go.
I'm signing up for I'll run a one shot on a system so I'll learn it. I'll make it happen. It's not going to be for a while because I've got other stuff in the works.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here first. Nerdarchy exclusive. Ted is running Star Wars.
Yeah, he's committed to it.
Eventually.
So I think we'd be a little remiss in talking about sci-fi and not mentioning a little bit about Shadowrun and also like cybernetic enhancements.
Oh
and
yeah,
that
you
stuff.
played Shadowrun.
Oh yeah, I
You
played
guys-
Shadowrun.
I've
I-
never
I-
gotten around to it. I think the world's really cool.
I know.
I've never.
Cyborg orcs, man. Come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
and trolls.
I mean, but they're different.
A street elf that stripped out so much of its internals. It was so much not a humanoid anymore. He was down to like.
And we're about to play in a sci-fi game. I guess it's sci-fi. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, sci-fi?
Ish. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, the catalyst for them being mutants is clearly fantastic
Yeah,
science.
Yeah, I'm playing a hippopotamus sumo wrestler.
I'm playing a ninja squirrel.
so that's.
Does he talk like Foamy from you remember Foamy's rants? Like, a little press because that would be like he just rants about shit and like freaks out and has a ball.
Or from what's the movie? It's a kids movie came out. It's got Little Red Riding Hood. It's got the Big Bad Wolf.
Hoodwinked.
Hoodwink.
I've
yeah.
never watched it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the squirrel's like that all the time, but then you give it caffeine and it goes nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, I was just saying because Shadowrun is interesting because it swings between magic and tech, but like they,
And fantasy.
and well, yeah, and
sci-fi.
there isn't. Well, I mean, but the magic and tech, like they're divergent, like they
Yeah.
adversely affect one another or whatever, but they're both there. And even putting sci-fi into your fantasy games, Psionics. Psionics is like a sci-fi you get, and it's very Dune,
Yeah,
feeling.
the Dune aspect.
Yeah. So I know we're gearing up towards taking it out, but I wanted to put a little footnote in there.
You're absolutely correct. The actual robotics and cybernetics mixing with humanoids definitely makes for some cool stuff.
Yeah. So do we want to engage our engines and head on out of here?
I think so. I think we've covered it.
All right. Well, make it so.
So like, comment, subscribe, and even share.
Check us out on Facebook.
Or nerdarchy.com.
Or you can check us out at the subreddit Nerdarchy. How to stay nerdy.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.
Of everything, you don't
But,
get much
you know-
more sci-fi than that.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I guess that would count. So.
Yeah, so I would say for the, I'm going to start off with the ugly of sci-fi is over teching everything. When everything is like this, it takes you 5 or 6 giant words to explain what this device is, or I don't like that. I mean, I like Star Trek, and they do tend to tech their lingo up, but then they explain it with a really easy metaphor.
I would also say in regards to running a sci-fi game, when you've got the ability to get access to or use this super powerful tech, you can teleport. You can easily fly from one
Circumvent
point to another.
obstacles.
So there's a lot of things that you can be like, oh, that's not a problem. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
So
Same problems that a high magic game runs into.
This is the superheroes with a cosmic game.
Mhm.
I personally, I played in Star Frontiers years and years ago. I think that's the only one that was like straight up sci-fi. And then you guys
With Paranoia, that's a pretty
Paranoia.
sci-fi game
Yeah,
too.
I used to do Star Wars as well with a whole other gaming group.
Well, that's really so it's weird. Like Star Wars is like fantasy with elements of a science fiction.
It's kind of a space opera.
Star Trek is like hard science,
Right.
Like sort of like to split the two.
Well, they
spots.
sell it as hard science, yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars and Star Trek are both space. It's just how they're delivered. Star Wars talks about a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Because you still have lasers and starships and all that stuff that goes along with
androids, but
And
not the
droids.
ones you're looking for.
But so that all goes with the space themed. It's just okay, well we're gonna all toss in these laser swords, lightsabers, if you will, just to give it the long time ago concept.
Well, and also they deal with an ancient religion, like the whole Jedi thing is kind of an old cult that few people believe in. Like depending on what era you're talking about in the universe too.
So the question is then, like, how does this translate into RPGs?
Yeah, I mean, well, there has been a Star Trek RPG. There is Star Wars. There's
Numenera.
Yeah, there's the freaking Warhammer has like the Warhammer 40K universe. You can role play in that.
Absolutely.
So that's totally a thing.
Oh, yeah, we missed one that we played it too. We've done Gamma World.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Gamma World is.
It's post-apocalyptic, a little bit.
Nate here from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. Today I'm with my esteemed colleagues, and we're going to be discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly of sci-fi genre.
I'm Ted.
Dave.
Ryan. And
So-
coffee.
So sci-fi games, it's not the foremost of what we play, but we've done some things, here and there. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, for us personally, we've kind of we've crossed the streams when it comes to sci-fi. We've mixed it with
You
D&D,
never crossed streams.
but we did.
We did. We crossed streams.
We mixed it with D&D, and we've
Based
done
on superheroes.
we've mixed.
Really, you think about it.
High level, high magic game can have that kind of situation.
Well,
as
you've got to put limits on the things. If it's just high magic in the future, then okay, well I teleport through wherever I want on this planet because I can.
Yeah.
But when you run in from the sci-fi aspect, you have why can't I teleport into this cave?
Weird ozone, special radiation.
Yeah.
The fuse is blown and you need to replace the part. Scotty's got to spend like 18 hours fixing it. You guys are kind of stuck here.
So get in that shuttlecraft and get down there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I'm going to go with for a con is actually it's a con and it's a pro. One of the biggest problems with sci-fi games is the versatility of them. It's a huge genre. I would say possibly the biggest. It runs from everything from Gamma World